Zimbabwe simuka utosere, Zimbabwe simuka utosere, mawakaura. Zimbabwe simuka wezanu vaeuke, mauraya. Zimbabwe simuka. Mubasa kwandinoshanda, ndobira mumutsetse. Nitambire mari yangu, mubira mumutsetse. Baba ere, dosorari. Zimbabwe simuka wezanu vaeuke, mauraya. Mafuta edzimota mubira mumutsetse. Nitengere mhuri yangu, ndobira mumutsetse. Baba ere. Zimbabwe simuka wezanu vaeuke. Kana ndichida chingwa, kamwe hapana. Kana ndichida petu, kamwe hapana. Kana ndichida shuka, kamwe hapana. Niende kuchipatara, hapana. Simuka.
Good morning, good afternoon, Zimbabwe. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad to be back, really, because it has been a long time. The first Padare Namambo Sose after the shame elections in Zimbabwe. Yes, I must repeat that I'm glad to be back so that we can talk about this contentious issue in Zimbabwe, the stolen election. But let me once again welcome our viewers and listeners here on ZimI, on Change Radio YouTube, Change Radio Facebook, ZimI YouTube and ZimI Facebook. Let's talk about what we need to do. Let's talk about what happened in Zimbabwe. Barbara, I know you were missing me.
Yes. Hello, Chief Sose. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabwe, from wherever you are. Lingabe lichona njani, lavuka njani mthwakazi omuhle emagumbini amane wonke omhlaba. Yebo, sesiphendukile ngemva kwesikhathi eside kakhulu. Besingalalanga kade sisayenza okunye kwama elections, sisalungisa phela okwama polling stations, polling agents. Yiko kade lingasiboni phela umsakazo wenu. Sesiphendukile sisakaza siku Change Radio, umsakazo ngokwawo, Change Radio Facebook, Change Radio YouTube, Change Radio Twitter, and also ku ZimI. Chief, did you know that you also broadcast from Paul Mazoe's page on YouTube? Yes, that's Change Radio for you. Chief, welcome back in Drugunzwa. Kuti wangu wakaenda kumusha uko kunovota wakavota zvakanaka here Chief Sose? Kwanguri seiko kuedza nekuZimbabwe kwese? Vamwe varipo vari kutiona, toda kuti mutiudze kuti makavhota here, makaenda here kunovhota, kana kuti makavhota here. Mutiudzewo maexperiences enyu kwamanga muri, kwamakandovhotera, chii chamakaona. Tinozviziva kuti ma-elections aya anga ma-elections angasiri free and fair, ave ngama-elections kadengeko credible, bekungama-elections atshontshwayo, umnangagwa watshontsha amavoti ethu. Kodwa into enhle ikuthi sasikhona sikanyele Chief, sababamba xaka bezama ukutshontsha amavoti ethu. Lesadaki layo yababamba xaka isadaki, yathi lilamanga lina ama-elections lawa abengekho free and fair and credible. So siqalisela khonapho Chief, haizi kuzovhiyiwa. Ngoma yekuba hairidziki, handeitone. Over to you, Chief Sozvi.
Hanzi tikaenda tikanovhota. When we are here and we tell you that let's do this, let's register to vote, let's go and vote, we mean exactly that. We don't just come here and tell you things that we don't do. I was there, I was in Zimbabwe just a few days before elections. Barbara, you know, I had the opportunity to be at the crossover rally, and you know, the electric atmosphere that I felt there, you know, it just told me that I needed to be here. You know, if I had any doubts of the reason that I had traveled to Zimbabwe for, when I, you know, saw the president going on stage and addressing the big crowd that was behind that space at Sheraton, you know, I just said, this is it. You know, people were fired up. The president was fired up. You know, when he was speaking, the words that he was, you know, they were just reverting with the whole crowd. And a few days later, to then think that those people, the votes of those people that were at the crossover rally, you know, their voices had been drowned, their votes had been stolen. But before I get into that, let me again talk about my experiences when I was in Zim, in Harare. The atmosphere was great. I traveled to Marsh West, Marsh West, so I had to go Kwanambuya and everything. Ndikanosvika kumaruzeva, ndikanosvika kupi, and the people, you could tell, the people in the rural areas that they were ready for change. You know, I didn't stay long, and then I had to go where I was voting in Wedza, you know, Ward 5, you know, Machembere, Ekumusha, ndakasvika ndikagara nawo pasi, Barbara, tikaita zvechibuku evidence iyi. Tikagara nemachembere nanasekuru tichikurukura, you know, just talking about our country. You could tell that the people had understood the word. The people had understood what we were trying to do. Mugwazo uya wakashanda. Brumango strategy yaitsanangurwa nemadhara, you know, in a manner that we don't even explain it here on Padare. They were telling me how they were doing it, you know. Takatozoseka ndikati saka vese amabhurumango achamisa, because those old men were wearing ZANU-PF regalia, but they knew what they were going to do when they went to the ballot box. They knew whom they were going to vote for. Shoko rakasvika kumaruzeva. Musanyeperwe kuti ZANU-PF yakawina kumaruzeva. They did not win. Even in Wedza, in my home country, they did not win in Wedza, because I'm telling you, Barbara, the people were, they knew that they were supposed to go and vote for President Chamisa, and they were also attending ZANU-PF rallies, they were attending ZANU-PF meetings, but Brumango strategy, they knew that they were going to vote for President Chamisa. Even on the day of election, I went round all the 5 polling stations in Ward 5 Wedza. Of course, I went to my polling station first, Matsine, where I went and voted. And then I started driving around, helping the people, giving them food and the like. And I got to another polling station, Mukondwa polling station. I sat with ZANU-PF agents and CCC agents, and you know, just to confirm to people, CCC had agents everywhere in Wedza. At every polling station, we were represented. Musanyeperwe kunzi kune ma-areas mamwe anonzi eZANU-PF kwankusina ma-agents. We had agents everywhere, and I saw them. So I sat with some of them. You know, they were, of course, representing ZANU-PF. So I asked one of them, you know, she was young, and I said, so ndimi agent where ZANU-PF? Ndobva aseka. ndikati so kunotori nevana vadiki here vari munhongwedza vanotosapota ZANU-PF. Ndaingotaura ndichiseka zvangu, and then she laughed. Zvikanzi pana ndakusumuka zvikanzi chief munoudza Chamisa kuti kune rimwe bhurumango ravo riri pamukondwa. Ndakafa nekuseka. She was a ZANU-PF agent, but there she was, just saying it right there, that ende munoudza Chamisa kuti kune bhurumango rake riri pamukondwa. That's how people were right. But on the flip side, before I come back to you, Barbara, on the flip side, I saw ZANU-PF, what do you call it? Organization, Chawit. FAZ. I saw FAZ in action. They were at every polling station. Vachitokumbira madesk kuzvikoro, votokumbira madesk, voisirwa apo, votowaridza ZANU-PF regalia ipapo. But I want to tell you, in Wedza, we chased them away at all the polling stations that we went. And I must also say that the police were on our side, because we would just report them that this is illegal. We can't have any political party displaying their regalia and intimidating people the way they are doing right now. And they were chased away. It was only at one polling station where we ended up being chased away ourselves. Because that FAZ, they were different. They were not just villagers. You are going to C10, and we had no choice there. We had to run away for dear life. The streamer keyboard warriors. So in that polling station, we had to run away, but we had made our case to the police and to the agents there that this was not wanted. We don't want people campaigning or displaying their political parties regalia or whatever. But takasobata kumanyisana ne FAZ ipapo, Barbara. So instead of going to Harare via Wedza, takazotendera nemaprasi takabuda nawo kwaRusape. Tichitandaniswa tichitotyawo tichitokwata kuti nhasi ndikabatwa pano. Nditadze kudzokera kuAmerica here ndakandwa kumusango kana musaga neFAZ. So but anyway, that was the situation in Wedza. But what I liked most was the people knew what they were doing. Can you believe it, Barbara? Anatete vangu vakaramba kupinda mumota. Zvikanzi wewe unongochitaura uri paVOA, uchitaura uri papi, uchitukirira vanhu veZANU-PF, hatisi kupinda mumota mako, enda wega. They walked 6 kilometers on their own. They refused to get in my truck, in my car. And okay, but what it showed me was the fear is real. The fear that is put in people, and what Sadak is saying, that people were heavily intimidated. People did not vote freely and fairly, and therefore the election in Zimbabwe was not fair, free, and credible. If you just take that, that my own people, my own relatives were afraid even to be seen with me, or even to jump in my car so that I can, just drop them somewhere. I told them, I'm not going to drop you at the polling station. I'll drop you 1 kilometer or 2 away. Then you can just walk the, rest of the distance. But they refused. They were so afraid. But it doesn't mean that they were so afraid to go and vote for ZANU-PF. They knew what they were doing. They just did not want to expose themselves, which is exactly what we have been teaching people, what we have been preaching throughout the year, that you don't have to put yourself in danger by not attending ZANU-PF rallies, or by pretending or showing everyone that you are Triple C. If there is a ZANU-PF rally, if there is a ZANU-PF meeting, if ZANU-PF was giving away goodies and everything, they were going, they were getting, just before the elections. Fertilizer, and they took. But when they went to vote, they knew the person that they were voting for. So, Barbara, that's the roundup from my visit in Zimbabwe, the atmosphere was good. People knew whom they were going to vote for, and people voted for President Chamisa. And I have no doubt that Mkomana Agawina vote here by more than 60%. What we are seeing it's just a shame of results. It's just numbers that were thrown at us, numbers that were given to ZEC by the army. That's what we know. You know, those numbers were not even tallying, and that's the reason why even Museveni was laughing at ZANU-PF. That next time when you think of rigging, make sure you do it right. You know, here in Uganda, when we rig, and our numbers will be matching. You guys, your numbers were not even matching. So you can see here that whatever ZANU-PF did, whatever Emerson Mnangagwa did, is not being supported by African leaders. And out of the 16 leaders that were invited to come to the inauguration, only 3 turned out. That speaks volume. And Barbara, that's what we want to talk about here. SADC, the reaction of SADC, what SADC has done for the people of Zimbabwe. For the first time in the history of Zimbabwe, in the history of our elections, SADC has decided to stand with the people of Zimbabwe. What do you think about that, Barbara?
Yes, before I comment on that one, Chief, thank you so much for that insightful journey. You know, you did very well, Chief. And I know a lot of people, diaspora, they went home watching the voter, and they really wanted change. You know, I saw people that were determined, people who said instead of going for a holiday, we are going to Zimbabwe to vote. But one thing chavakakanganisa iwewe chandisingambozomboofe ndakakuregerera ndechekuregedza kupfuura nekumusha kwangu uchiona muchembero wangu iwewe Chief, iwewe une mhosva. So coming to am I audible, Chief?
Your volume on my side is low. I don't know whether it's my device. I don't know. Estella, can you hear Barbara?
I hear her loud and clear.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Thank you. So increase? Maybe Chief, you can increase volume on your part. I thought maybe I'm not audible.
Okay.
So I was saying kuti une mhosva iwewe kuti hauna kuenda, hauna kupfuura nekwari kweza uchinoona muchembero wangu kwari kweza ikoko iwo wangu wari kudhuze now. Okay, coming to my elections, I was saying kuti the people were very eager, especially the people in the diaspora. They were very eager to vote, and most of them, they went home and they voted. And you know, Chief, the issue here first, and I'm happy kuti we managed to handle it. And in most areas, they managed to chase away FAS. But tell you what, in areas where they failed to chase FAS did a lot of harm than good to our voters. They were intimidating our voters. They were taking information. They were taking their data. You know, here in the UK, you can't just take my details just like that. That information is very private and confidential. So they were using that information to intimidate people, to say, we know kuti wavhotera pati because tatonyora number yako. So people in the rural areas, once they hear about that, they think kuti sure mazita rangu richatorwa. Yeah, you know, Chief, the election was stolen. That's not a secret. And the SADC wrote a very good report about the Zimbabwean election and said kuti the elections were not free, were not fair, were not credible. They also highlighted the issue of us. They highlighted even the before the elections, the issue of the delimitation report. They also highlighted the laws that were the bills that were passed into parliament, that were passed into act, the bills that were suppressing the wills of the people, to say they also contributed to an unfair election. How can you pass a draconian bill, or how can you pass a draconian law during or towards elections? So ZANU-PF was trying by all means. The rigging process, it started way before the election. It started by voter registration. You remember when the ZEC was registering people, sometimes they will say we've run out of paper. Sometimes they will take long to register people. People will stand in a queue for a long time. So voters were actually disenfranchised, So the election was not free. It was not fair. It was not credible. And also, coming to the results of the election, ZEC even failed to rig, the Chamisa's percentage, ED's percentage, and the percentage of the other participants, they were more than 100%. When you add them together, they were coming up to 103%. And ZEC even failed, like you said, rightfully said, Chief Kuti. ZEC even failed. Wakatadza kubwerengedza. Wakatadza maths. This is what happens when you are stealing. So we are on the safe side, guys. My champions, Musaora Moyo. Even President Chamisa addressed the public and said, don't lose hope. We are going to take power. We are going to for fresh elections, and we are not only going for fresh elections. We will go for fresh elections with reforms. Without reforms, we are not going to vote because no pese panenyaya. Pama reforms, no panenyaya. So I think, Champion Estella, there is a video where President Chamisa was assuring people. If you can play it, maybe in case some people did not see it. President Chamisa is very optimistic. His spirits are very high. He's sending a message of hope to the Zimbabweans to say, well done, Zimbabweans, for voting. And he also thanked the Wanyoku diaspora. Well done, people of diaspora, for helping out. CCC, he had no money to campaign, but these diasporans, they financed the party. The CCC got 103 MPs and also my councillors in urban areas. And yet it was a new party, only 1 year old. But we managed to have my MPs that were more than when we were still MDC alliance. So we did a very good job. President Chamisa won by more than 60%. So that's why Mnangagwa rushed to do his inauguration. That inauguration is not inauguration, yes, Zimbabwe. There's ZANU-PF. Is ZANU-PF yaigadza president wayo, kwete president wenyika. Champion Estella, did you find the video that I sent you, President Chamisa? Maybe we can play that one.
Hello, Zimbabwe. I'm so excited to come to you this very wonderful 2023, a very important year. And I must say to you that it's a year we are going to see his end, the end of our God. His word is going to be fulfilled, the word of our God. And I know that many people have been worried, concerned, anxious. What's happening? Why is it that you are not saying much, you are not doing much? Tell you what, we are doing a lot. The definition of action cannot be limited to what people see. The definition of action cannot be limited to demonstration, as demonstrations have been known. We have been doing a lot, and you will see in the passage of time, with the affliction of time, you will see and realize that we have done a lot, and a lot is being done. But this year is going to be an excellent year. It's a wonderful year. Of course, we're going to be announcing the programs of the year in due course, and our usual traditional annual agenda of the year, the 2023 agenda. We're going to come to you and say what the issues are, what we are going to be emphasizing. But I can tell you that this year is a wonderful year. This year is your year. This year is a great year, and we are going to see amazing things. Yes, there's going to be a lot of challenges. We are clear about it. We have said we don't invest in noise, we invest in peace. Where others are noise makers, we are peacemakers. Where others are investing in violence, we invest into the peace infrastructure. I can tell you that we are nation builders, we are transformers, we are change champions. We are going to bring to fruition a new great Zimbabwe. And I want you to join us, work with us, walk with us as we promise you, and as we also go to that important promise we're given by our Father, that Zimbabwe is going to be great again, that Zimbabwe is going to be brand new. Everything is going to be new. But you'll see, it's an exciting year. So thank you. Wherever you are, don't despair. Don't be disappointed. Yes. The future is holding great things for us. We are going to be breaking news in the whole world, and we are going to be celebrating this year. God bless you. I love you. God is in it.
Yes, that was President Chamisa. That was before the elections. I just wanted people to hear Chief Kuti. The president has always been optimistic about 2023, and he knew that 2023 was going to bring a new result. He knew that something big was going to happen. And come 2023 elections, people voted in their numbers. And Zek tried by all means to suppress the voters, Chief. You know, from Zek printed about 7 million ballot papers. You know, no one wasted a president. And they printed about 6.6 million, is it 6 million ballot papers for the other elections, the MPs and the councillors. But what surprised most of the people, or if not all, is that, Chief, when people went to vote, especially in the urban areas, the papers, people only voted for 1 hour, and then the ballot papers will be said could they've run out. But yet in the rural areas, kunana uzumba maramba ufungo, one kupusa kwezeki, kunana uzumba maramba ufungo. While my ballot papers, they never ran out. And yet people in Harare, they started voting at midnight. And yet they finished the voting at 7 o'clock. Can you imagine? All these irregularities, Chief, that's the reason why SADC had to write a very powerful report about everything. This was a way of disenfranchising voters in the rural, in the urban, because they know that the urban areas is areas where the opposition always scooped the majority of the seats. So they tried by all means to suppress the voters, and in the rural areas, because they know that's the reason why they brought FAS. They were aware of the bull mango strategy, Chief. So they bought FAS to disturb the strategy of bull mango. So you know they knew they will not win in a free and fair election. And in as much as they tried to rig, Chief, they even failed to rig. Up to today, Zek is failing to produce tabulated results like what they did in the last election. They can't produce tabulated results. They can't produce verifiable results. And yet the constitution is very clear that the result must be verifiable. How does this happen? Something that is verifiable is anyone can take the results, Chief, and start working out so that they come up with the correct answer. So that was not done.
Yes, and I just want to comment on that comment there by Chidodo. What Chamisa promised you, he fulfilled it. It is not easy, SADC, to give you attention. You know, what I want to tell Zimbabweans is the the effort that was put by the party, by CCC, by citizens in Zimbabwe, you know, against all the odds, like what Barbara was saying, voters in urban areas were frustrated, hugely frustrated. But what I noticed, I went to Glenview, where Honorable Chidziva, he was one of the people that was affected. They only started voting around after 12 midnight, and voting went on until around 7 a.m. in the morning. And I was there around 7 a.m. I was now in Harare, and I saw the conviction, I saw the conviction of the urban voters. They spent the whole night on the lines waiting for those ballot papers that were missing. Most of the people did not go home. they waited and they still voted. If you see the numbers that constituencies like Glenview and Mount Pleasant that were affected by those papers, they really did not change, because ZANU-PF's strategy was to suffocate the presidential vote in the urban centers by causing chaos, by delaying to put ballot boxes, ballot papers. But the people of Zimbabwe remained resolute. They waited. Nobody went home. Only a few people went home, but they still returned when voting had commenced in those urban areas. So what was supposed to be done, what President Chamisa was supposed to do, he did. What CCC was supposed to do, it did. What the citizens of Zimbabwe were supposed to do, they did. We did. And we successfully did that. And that's the reason why I'll keep repeating that we did get over 60% of the vote, both the presidential vote and the votes in the constituents. Everything that we are seeing is drama. Everything that we are seeing is manipulation. It's ZANU-PF rigging. This election was overwhelmingly won by CCC, won by President Chamisa. I know people are coming up with all sorts of accusations right now that you could have done this, you should have done this, CCC should have done this. Yes, I get it. We get it. In every process, when you look at it in hindsight, you always see that you could have done better. You always see that there are things that you could have done that you didn't do. But overall, if we want to give a fair assessment, what the people of Zimbabwe needed to do, they did. And I'm glad that SADC, for the first time, he has decided to stand with the people of Zimbabwe. I salute HH, I salute Nevas Mumba, because he has decided, together, they have decided to stand for the truth. And they've remained resolute. They've remained resolute. And for that, as Zimbabweans, we should be grateful. But Barbara, we should not just be grateful to Zambia. We should not just be grateful to SADC. We should not just be grateful to the African leaders that have decided to stand with us. We need to do something ourselves. We need to continue fighting. That's the reason why we are saying in this program, the struggle continues. And luta continua. We need to continue doing what we need to do as citizens. The demonstrations that have started in South Africa, citizens in South Africa, we salute you. Thank you so much, Johannesburg. Thank you so much, Cape Town. Thank you so much, Pretoria, for rising up and showing the world that you are not happy. Because if you are not happy about a result, you express it. Don't remain quiet. Do something about it. You heard on several occasions, Nevas Mumba was referring to the mood on social media when he was being asked, when some ZANU-PF people were challenging him in one of the interviews, where he was saying Zimbabweans are not happy. And he asked, have you been on social media? Go on social media and see that Zimbabweans are happy with the report that SADC, has come up with. They are, excited about it, and they are angry about the stolen election. Where was he referring? He was referring to social media. So it is critical, it is important as Zimbabweans that we express our anger. Do not keep quiet. Do not remain quiet. Do something. Say something on social media. I'm telling you, the world is noticing. The world is waiting to see how Zimbabweans express their anger, how Zimbabweans are expressing, their feelings after the stolen election. In social media, because of the democratic spaces that are being closed in Zimbabwe, that you can't demonstrate easily in Zimbabwe, that when you demonstrate in Zimbabwe, you get arrested, like what they've done to Honorable Job Scala and many others. You get beaten like what they did to Champion Wombe and many others. What remains for us as Zimbabweans is to go on social media, pour out on social media. The world is watching, the world is reading. when there is a petition, that is going on right now. It still has less than 50,000 signatures. That's another way of expressing your anger and showing that you are angry about the situation in Zimbabwe. Sign the petition. Sign the damn petition. Don't look at that petition and just forward it and then just leave it. Sign the petition. Look for that petition and sign it. We're going to put it here. Please go to that petition and sign it. I know our champions in the United Kingdom. Thank you so much. I saw, I was talking to the organizing secretary, Model Pamire, on the 15th. UK will be presenting a petition to the UK Parliament. That's the action that we need. But that petition needs to be signed. It needs to be signed. Sign the petition, Zimbabweans, and if you can join the handover of the petition in the United Kingdom, join it on the 15th. Be there. South Africans have already, gotten us started. Thank you for that. I know here in America there will be a demonstration at the United Nations on the 23rd of August. Another one is being planned in Ottawa, in Canada. Join those demonstrations. Join those protests. And I thought by now we could have an online protest, like what the Nigerians have done. They are still protesting today. Can you imagine, Barbara? Nigerians are still protesting. They are still online. They are still registering their anger. And that's what we need to do as Zimbabweans, to keep supporting what SADC is doing, to complement what African leaders, the majority of the African leaders have decided to do, standing with the people of Zimbabwe. Let's compliment them. Let's support them. Barbara, are you going to that petition handover in the UK?
Obviously. I'll be going there to London, Chief, and also I'm taking this opportunity to invite everyone who is in the UK, everyone who's in the UK and is worried about what is happening, is not happy about the outcome of the elections, who is worried about the situation in Zimbabwe, to come in our numbers, and let's go to number 10 Downing Street and hand over our petition. The good part of it, Chief, is the UK Parliament said, and they also concurred with the SADC report to say the elections in Zimbabwe were not free, fair, and credible. And they said they are going to support SADC in whatever way they want, so that Zimbabwe can have a free and fair election. Remember, the position of CCC is that we want fresh elections. We want fresh elections under new reforms, under the reforms that are going to help us going forward. We don't want to win the election now and then next election we cry foul to say we have been rigged. We want to finish this issue of rigging once and for all. We want to be like South Africa, Chief, whereby if those that would have been defeated, they concede defeat and the country moves on. Zimbabwe has never moved on since 2000 because we have been rigged since 2000. ZANU-PF has been refusing to do reforms since 2000. And they also said, Chief, that we cannot reform ourselves out of power. They said, so the good thing is SADC has never been on our side. This is the first time where SADC is sided with this majority of the Zimbabweans, where SADC has decided to write a true report of what transpired before, during, and after elections. And we are so grateful about SADC. And going forward, Chief, I'm told ZANU-PF, Nick Mangwana, George Charamba, they were breaking to say SADC can only act next year after the summit, and Zimbabwe is hosting that summit. And I'm rightfully told that there can be an extraordinary summit to discuss the Zimbabwean situation, and that's when this issue is going to be resolved. And I know Mnangagwa is illegitimate, and he is still illegitimate, chief. So great things are coming, Zimbabweans. Muna kuvhotera mahara, simba renyu harina kuendera mahara. Chamisa is going to be the president of Zimbabwe, whether vanoda kana kuti awadi. So brace up for a new Zimbabwe where we are going to be free. And the president Chamisa said, chief, hakuna opposition ichamanikidzwa kana kuti ichambunyikidzwa. Hakuna munhu achambunyikidzwa kuti ita zvakati. Hakuna munhu achafotsokedzwa kuvhota kana wachamisa wapo. Hanzi tikuda vanhu. We want divergent views. Remember, President Chamisa always speaks about the divergent views. Always speaks about my different opinions. But it's good for the country to have different opinions so that it moves ahead. So kana mese mukangobvumirana mukangoti yes, nyika ienderere mberi, kunofanira kutonga kuine vamwe vanhu vanotopikisa kuti aiwa izvo hazvizi rizvo, dai mamadai, and then nemo motora that advice, and Zimbabwe moves ahead, chief.
Yes, and I want to just buttress what you just said about hope, that we should remain hopeful. Personally, I still sincerely believe that something is going to give. I still sincerely believe that Emmerson Mnangagwa is not going to be president past 2023. He is not. Something is going to happen. I remain hopeful about that. You know, what I like is that SADC is putting its foot down. Mangwana and the other ZANU-PF people may try to water down the powers that SADC has, but SADC has powers. SADC is the most powerful regional body that we have. If you do not have support of SADC, then you can very easily be isolated. And I have faith in President HH, who is the leader of the SADC Troika. I know he's going to bring up something. I know, like Barbara said, he can call for an emergency or extraordinary conference. It is possible. It is within the means of SADC to do that. And what ZANU-PF is banking on, that there won't be any meeting until next year, and that SADC Zimbabwe will actually be hosting that. Zimbabwe is not going to host anything. Zimbabwe cannot host anything to do with SADC. That I can promise you, it's not going to happen. They are not even going to assume the chairmanship of the Troika as they are dreaming. They can dream on, but I do not see that happening. What I see is going to be an emergence or an extraordinary meeting by SADC, and I know there are countries that will be supporting President HH, their leaders that will be on the side of the people of Zimbabwe. And I see a situation, Barbara, where Zimbabwe is going to be isolated. We can even, see sanctions being given to Zimbabwe, because I see, a change, a wind of change that is blowing within SADC, that they do not want to continue seeing these contested elections in member countries. And they're going to start with Zimbabwe. And what a big statement they would have made if they can do that. And I have no doubt that SADC is going to come up with something. So we can see a situation here. We are now just, giving our personal opinions. We're just saying we foresee a situation where America will be talking about sanctions, UK will talk about sanctions, EU will talk about sanctions against Zimbabwe. The existing sanctions, obviously, will be renewed Obviously, we have heard what America has said. We have heard what UK have said. We have heard the EU report. It's cutting. It's daunting on the side of ZANU-PF. So we'll see an increase in sanctions, but I would want to see sanctions also, being being done by SADC, by AU, so that we bring to an end the issue of contested elections. Like Barbara rightly said, the country cannot move forward if it has contested elections every election period. Zimbabwe is not going to move forward. Zimbabweans will continue to suffer. Nobody wants to go and invest in a country where people are always fighting about elections, where there is a threat of a government being removed anytime. No money, no investment will come into Zimbabwe. And ZANU-PF should know that. And when they know that, we know that they're going to do something about what is going on right now in Zimbabwe. Mugabe faced the same situation in 2008. He attended an AU meeting. They almost expelled him. They almost removed him from that meeting. And in that meeting, he was told that in no uncertain terms was AU going to tolerate that robbed or rigged election in 2008. And what was the result? The result was the GNU. So we foresee the same situation happening with SADC, where Zimbabwe may be stopped from attending meetings, and that will not be good for the country. Are we going to have another GNU? Definitely not. The party, the president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, has made it very clear that we're not going to go into another GNU. What is needed? What is the party position? Of course, we can't speak about the party position. We're not qualified to do that, but we repeat what our spokesperson has said, Mr. Mkwananzi, what the president has said, that there has to be fresh elections, which means there has to be a transitional authority that will get in and ensure that there are electoral reforms, because we can't demand fresh elections and then go into those elections under the same conditions that we have. There has to be electoral reforms. We have to push and make sure that the electoral field is level, and that should be done during that transitional period. The transitional authority will be in charge of that. I don't know the content of the transitional authority or its composition, but those demands to me make sense. What CCC is saying makes a lot of sense. We cannot go into a fresh election using the same conditions. So we'll continue to demand that. We'll continue to push that party position during the demonstrations that you are seeing that are happening, that we are encouraging all diasporans to be doing. Barbara, as we finish, do we have something from President Chamisa about the way forward? I think he did say something. If we can play that video, then we can hear what people are saying. We haven't read comments. You can go ahead, Barbara.
Before we play that video, Chief, that's true what you've been saying. Panemun Atanzi and this Lesotho, they also did the same thing. They did fresh elections under SADC. So everything is possible, my champions. Don't despair. Change is coming. And also, Chief, did you hear that Chief Charumbira was dismissed from being the president of Pan-African Parliament, PAP, where he abused about 1.2 million. Chief Charumbira, so he was sacked. So he's no longer president of PAP, and he had only served for maybe a quarter of his term. Zvinonyadzisa sei kuti vanhu vanoba kudzimara kuenda kunoba kusadhaki, amunoba kuZimbabwe akuenda kunoba kusadhaki. So so the position is being advertised. So we are going to have a new president with PAP. Good news, isn't it? Yes, I think President Chamisa said something about the way forward. The way forward is very clear. We should not despair, and we should keep on demanding fresh elections wherever we are. Musashizirwe nezano. Ngoma yekuba hairidziki. Ngoma yekuba hairidziki. Musashizirwa ne-inauguration. Yebo kambe mthwakazi omuhle besikhuluma ngama-elections. Sithe sifake phela sikhulume ngesikhiwa kwenzela ukuthi wonke umuntu azwe namhlanje because indaba yakhona ibinde kakhulu. So ngithemba lizwisisile ukuthi besikhuluma sisithini. So sizahlangana njalo kuzinye inhlelo kodwa i-message esiyilitshiyela yona ngeyokuthi lingapheli amandla okukhulu kuyeza iZimbabwe entsha iyeza ikhokhelwa ngumongameli wethu u-advocate Nelson Chamisa yena owawinayo ukhetho oludlulileyo. Lingayethuselwa i-inauguration lay bekuyi-inauguration yezanu, not inauguration yeZimbabwe. Ama-elections ayabuya and ama-elections engabuya asambeni siyevota ngobuningi. Siyabazi labana abantu abangahambanga kuyavota. Khathesi nxa sesihamba badonse nini lihambe labo beyevota. Siyakwazi ukuthi kulabantu abangavotanga ngenxa yokuthi bona they had lost hope. Chief, there are a lot of people that did not vote because they had lost hope in elections. So if we are going to have fresh elections, please, we encourage everyone, every registered voter to go and vote. We have to vote in our numbers. Tive pa 66%, tiende pa 95% or toita kunge probability test ye DNA. Tova taita 99.99% President Chamisa and tova tato pindam State House. And then we start rebuilding our Zimbabwe. Chief, isusu wamwe takatomirira kuwaka Zimbabwe because kuno kwatakagara tiri kuona chinonzi good governance, tiri kuona chinonzi development. So zvinotirwadza kana tichiona Zimbabwe yakasununguka 1980 nanhasi tingori kushandisa madual, hatina kana dual motorway, asi kune dzimwe nzvimbo tinoona kutori nema-interchange, kune machinyi, kune maspaghetti roads, kune mabullet trains, kune machinyi, kune unokwira ndege. Kana ndichida kuenda kuLondon, Chief, ndinosarudza, ndinogara pasi. If I want to go to London, ndinogara from Manchester, ndinogara pasi, ndofunga kuti do I want to use the plane? Do I want to use the train? Do I want to use the coach? Or do I want to drive? Ndosarudza zvino 4. Ndine choice handimanikidzwe nemunhu Chief, zvakwandiri nehomwe yangu netime yangu nekuti ndiri kuzvifambisa sei, and zvese zvino it's affordable, it's not expensive. So this is the Zimbabwe that we are envisaging, Chief. Zimbabwe inenge iri developed, Zimbabwe inenge yakanaka. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have the video yet? You can just play the video as I read some of the comments here from our listeners. Diana Due, Barodzi, Makuto, Anzikoleka, you will cry more very soon. And then trust, thanks Neku, understand Chidodo, diaspora is supposed to vote because we pay remittances. We are standing exactly where we were in 2018. CC needs a new strategy. The new strategy is or whatever your name is. The new strategies were put in place, and I can tell you that they worked. And yes, we can improve on other things, but the strategies that the party came up with really worked. I saw them. I saw the Brumango strategy in action. I saw how Mugwazo, penetrated the rural areas. So in terms of strategies, yes, we can do more. We can always do better. But I can tell you the strategies were good enough because we won that election resoundingly. Mambo Shoshe Toda unyaradze mavaza sezvamunoita zviya pasi nezanhu Dr. Mavaza pa-VOA apo tinenge tichinetsana tinenge tichikweshana. No to GNU, we need fresh elections. That's Tawanda, we totally agree with you. I like it when people understand the situation where we are as Zimbabweans. People are saying no to GNU, and we're going to be talking more about that tomorrow. What ZANU-PF is trying to do, we are going to preempt them. They are going to approach some of our members of parliament and try to offer them trinkets, and some of them will take positions, and then there will be a de facto GNU. But it's already being preempted. We are going to talk about that tomorrow when we are talking about our members of parliament that were sworn in, the advantages and disadvantages of that. That's coming up in our tomorrow's program, so don't miss that. You can go ahead and play the video.
We can't talk of a GNU under these circumstances. A GNU to do what? To cheat people. A GNU to deceive people. The people have voted, and their vote must count. They must choose a leader of their choice. Not this thing by Mr. Mnangagwa of wanting to come through the back door.
Is there volume there?
Not come through the back door. He wants to just come without even the door.
Yes, it's there.
He will not allow that. He knows that he doesn't have the support of the people, but he wants to reproduce himself. Almost what we were fighting against under Mugabe is now a Mugabe times 2. Maybe young people, you say Mark 2 Mugabe. We don't want Mnangagwa to be in that kind of a thing. Let us respect the will of the people. When the people have decided, let's respect their decision. That is our plea, and that is our request.
There you are. That was President Chamisa responding to some of the questions and reiterating that the will of the people of Zimbabwe must be respected. The outcome of the election or the numbers that were announced by ZEC does not or do not reflect the will of the people. It doesn't reflect my vote, my will that I expressed in words. And for that, I'm angry. And all Zimbabweans should be angry. And we should continue. We must continue fighting for that will of the people that President Chamisa is talking about. And I can tell you that it's not over yet. It's not over until the fat-led sings. It's not over. Let's continue to fight. I see something good coming up. I don't at any time believe that the situation that is in Zimbabwe will stay. You saw how they rushed the inauguration. It's an indication of people that are afraid. Vanhu vari kutiza mumvuri. Vanhu vari kuziva kuti kumashure kwavo kune hondo yema-citizens. You saw how they rushed even the start of the parliament. They're just rushing everything. They think those things are going to cover up what they did. They think by rushing through all these steps, it's going to cover up the sham election, and it's going to blind the people of Africa and the people of Zimbabwe. But we remain very clear, our eyes wide open. We know that the election was rigged. Africa knows that the election in Zimbabwe was a shame. SADC knows that the election in Zimbabwe was not free, fair, and credible. And they will keep putting their foot down. We also must keep our foot down. But before we round up, before we finish, I want to take this opportunity to thank Zimbabweans, to thank the citizens, all the citizens, for the work that you did, especially diasporans. You rose. I'm telling you, wherever I went in Zimbabwe, diaspora was being mentioned. Whenever we're talking, whenever we were having a discussion, there is no one who did not acknowledge the great work that the citizens of Zimbabwe did. You fundraised, you supported, you called your relatives, you spoke to your relatives. Everything that we did here, that we discussed here on Padare, on Facebook, on Change Radio, the ideas that we discussed on the many spaces that were held, leading to the 2023 election. Those ideas were shared. They were passed on to the people in the rural areas. You may think that what we're discussing was just for social media, but I'm telling you, the people of Zimbabwe did what they were supposed to do. They did what we appealed for them to do, to use their social groups, to use their family groups, to communicate with the people in Zimbabwe. I want to tell you that the message reached home. The message got to the people in the rural areas, and they voted overwhelmingly. I think this is the biggest vote, the biggest election where we won resoundingly in the rural areas. We won resoundingly in the rural areas. Forget about those numbers that ZEC is giving you, that ZANU-PF is going with. The people in the rural areas must be thanked. Hatichada kunzwa zvakare kuti hanzi uzumba maramba pfungwe wedza kwakazara vanhu vezanu. Hakuna vanhu vezanu. People voted for President Chamisa, and it was because of the voter education that you guys did. It was because of the response that you, my fellow diasporians, did by communicating, by talking to your people, to your fellow relatives, brothers, sisters, mothers in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, but let's finish the job. Let's do what we need to do. If there's a demonstration in your country, attend the demonstration. In UK on the 15th of September, there is a petition that will be handed in UK. South Africa has already done demonstrations. Thank you for that. America is coming up, a demonstration on the 23rd of September, the annual UNGA, and I know that there will also be another demonstration in Canada, in Ottawa. Let's join those demonstrations. Let's also join the protests on social media. Find somewhere where you go and talk, write, talk to your members of parliament, talk to your house members, wherever you are. Tell them about the situation in Zimbabwe. But all in all, thank you, Zimbabweans, for what we did. Barbara, Chief Shoshe is signing off. Thank you. We'll meet you tomorrow as we discuss the parliament, our parliamentarians who were sworn in. I know there's still a lot of confusion, so we are going to come back tomorrow and explain why that was done, and even more, what ZANU-PF is trying to do. They are trying to do another Monzora, but obviously this time they're going to use a different Monzora. We'll tell you all about that in our tomorrow's program. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless the incoming president of Zimbabwe, Advocate Nelson Chamisa. I still believe that he is going to be president of Zimbabwe before the end of the year. I know it's difficult to believe, but like Nelson Mandela said, it always looks impossible until it is done, but it's going to happen. Thank you. Good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you are.